Welcome to the latest edition of Travel Mole TV, our exclusive online video service for the international travel industry. Today's broadcast is brought to you in association with uTravel, fast and reliable resort services for leisure travellers in the Mediterranean and other major destinations worldwide.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Skidmore and welcome to our final programme from the ABTA convention here in Marbella. Now, the Passenger Shipping Association has reported some great figures for cruising and also some promising stats for the ferry industry. With me is Carol Marlow, the chair of the Passenger Shipping Association. The PSA has got some very positive figures for ferry and cruise trips. Taking the ferries first, Carol, 35 million trips taken this year, and you've stopped the decline of previous years. How have you managed to do that?
Well, it's very encouraging news. It's a huge number of people taking ferry trips, and basically we've had such a huge investment in the industry over the last 5 years or so. £1.25 billion has been put into the industry in new tonnage, in refurbished shipping, and also in the infrastructure of the ports. So it's a much more pleasurable experience now, and I think that's starting to get through to our passengers.
But how much of it do you think is really a reaction to people not wanting to fly because of terror alerts and because of hassle at airports?
I think there's some of that in there as well, and you know, that's fair enough. If you go on a ferry, you can have no baggage restriction at all, and you can take your car if you like, so it's a much more convenient way to travel.
Now, as you say, a lot of money has been spent on the ferries, but there's still a perception that it's a bit of a down market way to travel. How do we get over those perceptions?
Well, you know, some of the ferry ships out there now are as full of facilities and amenities as the cruise ships. So actually that's a misnomer. That's something we have to get out and we have to tell people that actually these wonderful new ships are around.
OK, moving on to cruising. 8 more ships launched this year, 1.25 million passengers cruising from the UK. We're expecting another increase next year, more ships being launched. Is there a danger of overcapacity?
Well, all the studies that we're doing show that demand is still ahead of supply. So we're quite confident that the ships we're building will fill, which they have done up to now, and we see that happening in the next few years. OK, now cruising for many years was seen as a sort of dowdy holiday that rich old people did. Now, what has made the change? What has led to the turnaround, do you think? Well, I think the new tonnage that's come out has got some wonderfully innovative facilities on board, and also the people themselves are changing. The baby boomers of the 60s are now getting to the age, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and they want different things. So the cruise lines have put different things on those ships. So now it's a different sort of experience, and once people try it, they're very often hooked. Now, ships are getting bigger and bigger. We see 4,000 passenger ships being launched, and in a couple of years' time there's going to be a 6,400 passenger ship. Is there a danger that we're getting too big? Well, I think that depends on the people that want to take these ships. At the same time, we've got ships coming out that are 400 passengers. So it really is choice that we're offering, and people can choose a 400 passenger ship or a 6,000 passenger ship. It really depends what people want. OK, and what are your expectations for next year? For next year, we think we'll grow probably about another 100,000 to hopefully take us to about 1.35 million, which will be good with the new ships coming out and refurbished ships coming along. So with a fair wind, hopefully we'll see that sort of growth. OK, and with a high average expenditure that you get with people buying cruises, there's a good opportunity there for travel agents, and a lot of travel agents do sell cruises, but could they do more? Yes, I think they could, and that's why we have the retail arm of the Passenger Shipping Association there to help them, because we can train on the basics of cruising so they can understand how they can get to know the different products available, and they can do more cruising sales, I'm sure. I'm with Peter Shanks, the Managing Director of Ocean Village, and we're here to talk about the cruising market. Peter, why has it been growing so quickly in recent years?
Two reasons, really. Firstly, the product is exceeding customers' expectations, and more people are now talking about how much fun they have on cruises, how modern cruising is becoming, some of the new products that ships are introducing. That's the first reason. And the second reason is travel agents are now getting more and more behind the cruise industry. They're under pressure on many of the more traditional channels, and cruising is growing, so more agents are getting behind it. Put those things together, the market's doing really well.
Okay, there's around 1.25 million people cruising now. We're hearing of 8 ships being launched next year. We had 8 ships launched this year as well. Is there a danger that there's going to be overcapacity in the market?
We don't think so. We did a big piece of work with the Henley Centre this year, and we've looked for what we call active potential cruisers. And we think it's about 5.9 to 6 million people will actively look for a cruise in the next 2 to 3 years. So you take the market currently at 1.3, that's why we're so confident, and that's why we're all building new ships and increasing our capacity.
What about prices, though, particularly in the shoulder season with all these new ships coming on? Are you able to still keep them at a reasonable level?
Well, prices have held up very well through 2006. Like all markets, you'll get some pretty keen prices in May, early June, November, early December. But across the year, we've seen an increase in our prices this year. Despite the fact that air's gone up and fuel's gone up, we've managed to maintain our price increases at around about 2 to 3%, and that's been good for everybody.
Okay, now Ocean Village have got a second ship coming next year. What's special about that?
Well, we're in a great place because being the cruise people who don't do cruises, we break all those old perceptions and rules about cruising, and therefore people come to Ocean Village for the first time. In terms of the ship, it's the relaxation and the informality. Lots of cruise lines are now talking about being informal, but Ocean Village, we had the backing of P&O and Carnival to start it from scratch as an informal product. So we've landed in exactly the right place. It's also a fun thing for travel agents. Our personality is young and dynamic, and most travel agents are too. So again, put those things together, it's a real easy product to sell.
Now, you talk about travel agents, and we know that an enormous amount of cruises are sold through travel agents, but do you feel that they know enough about your product, or do they need to know more?
No, that's our job. We need to help them as much as we can through ship visits, through training seminars, lots of online training, and we're going to put as much investment in as we can afford to help travel agents, not just those good cruise specialists, but also independents who want some help getting into cruise and understanding how to sell it. And that's our job, to work with travel agents, and we're committed to doing that.
With me is Sir Stelios Hadjiayano, the founder of easyJet.
You can still call me Stelios, by the way. Okay?
I'm glad you said that. That makes it a lot easier.
It makes it a lot easier for all of us. Yeah.
Okay, now with me is Stelios, the founder of easyJet, and he also broke the mould with cruising, with his easyCruise concept. Stelios, tell us how that has been going.
It's been going well. I think there is a market for that sort of holiday. It's a holiday, like every other cruise. It's a holiday for people who are, if you like, curious to see more than one place in their holiday. They wouldn't like to sit on a static beach. They want to explore different places. With easyCruise, first of all, we're targeting younger people on average. The average age on the ships so far is about 30-something. In the Caribbean is a bit older, in the Mediterranean is a bit younger, but essentially it's people in their 30s plus or minus a decade. And we give them a lot of flexibility. I think if anybody's going to choose easyCruise over another cruise, it's because you basically have more time to go and visit the destination. We take you to cool places where you can stay during the day and at night. Very interesting experiment this coming summer in 2007, going back to the spiritual home, if you like, Greece. Yeah. And we're trying a very interesting itinerary around the Greek islands. So we already see bookings, if you like, on these tiny Greek islands that most people can't even pronounce, but because they're so if you like, off the beaten track and unusual to get to, I think it's the only cruise line you can use to go and visit those Aegean islands.
Now, as a newcomer to the cruise market, what did you learn from going into that market? I know that you had the orange ship and you thought, well, maybe that isn't a good idea, we'll change the colour. Any other things that you learned from that market?
I believe that when you're an innovator, when you're a risk taker like I am, you take a number of risks, and some of them work and some of them don't. It's just that an orange ship is a lot more visible a mistake than some of the other mistakes I made in my life, even in easyJet. But essentially, I thought that the ship should look like an advertisement. In fact, the ship is somewhere where people want to live and have their holidays for 7 days. So we had to tone it down on a more, if you like, refined livery. Now, other than that, I think we've learned a number of things that people enjoy, like staying in port at night, like having the option of eating on board or ashore, not having prepaid for their food. I think targeting the younger people, the people in their 30s, I think it's a good move because it opens up cruising to other to an audience that wouldn't consider it before. So we're going for a market that the others are not going after. In an itinerary, and we take them to places that the others don't go, we're creating a new market.
And do you find that all these young people who go out in port at night, they stagger back onto the ship with big hangovers?
Well, people do on holiday what people do on holiday. Yeah. I think actually it's a bit of, again, the media wanted to over-dramatize exactly how our customers are received in ports. We haven't had really any problems. So I think it's a non-issue, basically.
Now, of course, traditionally, with easyJet, people have booked direct, and of course they can book direct with easyCruise, but you're also selling through travel agents. How is that going?
We've got a special section on the website where the travel agents can get 10% commission. The reason we decided to actually sort of, if you like, form a relationship with the trade is because a cruise is not a product that you can buy independently of a flight. I mean, unless you're lucky and you live in the home port. But most people who go on our ship essentially will buy a flight as well. And not everybody will buy easyJet. I mean, that's obvious because, for example, for the Greek islands, people are already booking, and easyJet hasn't got the flights to Greece for the summer on sale yet. So there's clearly demand for people who want to book on a different airline, perhaps from a different airport. And a travel agent might like to do dynamic packaging. It's the ultimate dynamic packaging product. You can combine a flight, perhaps a hotel at the destination, perhaps a transfer from the airport to the port, and a cruise. So I think there is room to work with travel agents.
What about the issue of financial protection? Because if you bundle things up like that, if something goes wrong with the holiday, then people aren't really covered, are they?
Well, I guess the travel agent has to check their own legal position. As a cruise line, we are bonded with a PSA, so we have covered our own package. The cruise is considered a package, and we have that covered. Now, I guess the travel agent, and I don't mean to give legal advice over the TV, but I guess the travel agent has to immediately hand over an airline ticket when they're actually giving a ticket on another airline. So, people have to check their own legal positions.
TravelMole TV is providing 4 video reports from last week's convention. If you missed our earlier broadcasts, you can find them archived here on the travelmole.com website. Thank you for watching today's exclusive video coverage from travelmole.com. Today's broadcast is brought to you in association with uTravel, fast and reliable resort services for leisure travellers in the Mediterranean and other major destinations worldwide.